Shakers, it's your girl, Rhonda M. Lawson, sending you a personal invite to the Literary Lounge. Tune in to Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions each Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time for the best in literary conversation. Each week, a different author will join us to talk to their most important readers, you. You can also call in to ask your own questions. So don't forget, each Wednesday at 7 p.m., join us in the lounge for Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions. See you there.
Hi, I'm Linda Lewis with Lewis Armstrong Family Services here live at New Orleans Talk Network. We're here every Thursday at 11 a.m. Come join us. Thank you.
And I am back with another edition, the last edition of 2017. Meet the World Image Solutions Horizons. That's right, we are almost 6 months old. We're not quite there, but we are almost 6 months old. And we have been doing major things with this show and through this awesome network, New Orleans Talk Network. So I want to just thank the New Orleans Talk Network right here and now for all that you've done to help to expand the brand of Meet the World Image Solutions and to make Horizons happen, because this would not have been anything unless the New Orleans Talk Network brought me into the fold. So I want to thank all of them for what they have done. Now, we have a special night tonight because, one, as I said, we're just about 6 months old. I'm interviewing one of my awesome sorority sisters. I'm also interviewing another beautiful author. She was actually making a lot of noise on the literary scene. She is doing just writing crazy books. I mean, she's not writing herself into a box. What she's been doing is, I see her, she's laughing at me. She doesn't know I see her yet, but she's laughing because she knows that I'm right. I was trying to think of exactly how to frame this author, and I wasn't able to do it because she writes in so many different genres, which I think is awesome. Never write yourself into a box. So before I bring her on, what I want to tell you, and I'm going to remind you throughout the show, that if you are watching this show, you have a chance to win a couple of prizes tonight, because if you've been following me on Facebook, you know that the Meet the World Image Solutions Facebook page has been trying to get to 1,000 likes by the end of the year. We have 4 days left before we get to the end of the year. So we need everybody to share this show so we can help to grow the show. But if you share and then your friend likes the page, helps us to get to 1,000 likes, everybody will be put into a drawing to get a few different prizes, including some really awesome books. This is a literary show, so I've got to give away some books. I'm also going to be giving away some Literary Pride t-shirts and a few other really cool prizes. So what we need you to do is share this show and then get your friends to like the page. If we do those two things, everybody, the sharer and the sharee and the liker, will also be put into a drawing to win some great prizes. But without further ado, let's bring on Miss Bernadette Connor, who is going to tell us about her brand new novel that she is just released called Limpin. And I want to hear about this one. So how you doing, Miss Bernadette?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're going to get you on camera in just a quick minute. But in the meantime, can you tell us a little something about Limpin? What is Limpin about?
Limpin is romance. It's been compared to Notebook because it has a similar theme. It's a 54-year romance that takes them from the cotton fields and the woods of South Carolina all around the world and back. So I think it's different because it's an African American version of Notebook.
Okay. So, there are a lot of similarities with Notebook. I mean, where do the similarities stop and Limpin takes over?
Okay, the similarity is Ida Evers is sharing her life story with her husband, James Evers, who has Alzheimer's. And he pops in and out. And his responses are sometimes very funny. Sometimes he gets angry because he remembers something that she's talking about, and she has to be careful because James is a very big man and he's a very powerful man, and he can still hurt her if she says the wrong thing. So she has to be careful how she tells her story. And when you start reminiscing, you start saying things that maybe he just didn't know, and you don't know if he's truly hearing you. She doesn't know if he's truly hearing her or not.
Right. Well, I think it's very pertinent that you are attacking the issue of Alzheimer's, because it's a very painful disease, not just for the person who has it, but for the caretaker as well. Because sometimes the person who has it doesn't even know who the caretaker is anymore. And they may be asking for somebody who's not around. I was just actually watching a Christmas movie recently that was about that. And it had Darius Whitfield, who plays in Queen Sugar, who plays Remy on Queen Sugar, and Christian Keys in it. I mean, a lot of people may be familiar with Christian Keys because he does a lot of the TV movies. A very good-looking guy. But basically it was about Darius Whitfield, who basically stayed home, gave up on all his dreams so he can take care of his mother. And his mother was always asking for his brother. So he was like, why are you always asking for him when I'm here? So a lot of people go through that when they're dealing with somebody with Alzheimer's.
Yes, because you never know when their memories begin and where they stop. He always, for the most part, knew who Ida was, but when he spoke, he wasn't always talking to Ida. A lot of times he was talking to his brothers or his father. James came from a unique family of 12 boys, no girls in their family. And they were all very big men. They were not small men. So when Ida, who was only 5 feet tall, when she first meets his family, she said she felt like she was in the forest, in the woods again, with a bunch of trees, because even the little ones were big. So, it's a different story. Some people say they have it's challenging because I write with a southern accent. And
so you're another Zora Neale Hurston.
I want people to feel the characters. It's written in the town of Gadsden, South Carolina. That's where my family comes from. So when I first wrote the book, my family members thought I was telling their story. So one of them wanted to read it, who still lives in Gadsden, and he read it, and he said, "Bern, I know where I was the whole time, but who them people?" He didn't recognize the people.
But I think that people actually they appreciate it when you can make the story as real as possible, when they don't have to draw in their imagination so much. Now, you don't want to just spell everything out for them. You do want them to draw in their imaginations. But at the same time, when they can really connect with the area. I mean, for instance, I mentioned Zora Neale Hurston. She did that very well. You found yourself speaking in the dialect of the character.
Yes.
I mean, and if you read Their Eyes Were Watching God, she actually defined or described that entire area so well that when I went to Eatonville myself years later after reading the book, I was able to find things. I was able to point things out. I said, that's what she was talking about. So, I mean, I think it's wonderful if you're able to do that.
When you write, you don't want, I personally feel that you tickle the imagination. You don't have to describe every flower petal, every perspiring cup. You don't have to do that. You just have to tickle. Alfred Hitchcock said something that just stayed with me. He said, if you take a reader 2/3 of the way, they'll finish it without you doing anything else.
You're absolutely right.
Just take them part of the way.
Right.
You don't have to describe everything.
Now, it is a fine line because there are some books. I was reading a book called Passing. It was from the Harlem Renaissance era, and I think in some areas she over-described because instead of saying she poured the coffee, it would say something like she poured the brown hot liquid. We don't need you to describe coffee. However, if a character is upset or if they're happy, maybe you might want to describe how that person feels because then the reader can better connect with them.
Yes. I mean, writing is a funny thing. You know, at first I wasn't sure if people would be able to follow what I was saying. Did they understand? And when I published my first book in 1998, Damaged was a psychological thriller, and the response to it was so overwhelming that it really caught me off guard. It took me back. It really did. You know, people, how did you know my story? And I'm like, what? No, that can't be anybody's story. Anybody who read Damaged.
So how many books do you have right now?
8.
8 novels. So how long have you been writing? How long have you been published?
I started writing in 1991. My son was killed in 1991, and that's when I started to write. But I didn't even know then that I was writing novels. A novel. I just was, I was writing something. I wanted to write a love story that felt good. I didn't want it to hurt. I didn't want to write about pain. I wanted to write a love story. And I wrote the story, and it was called Finally. And I submitted it to agents. And the woman told me, she said, your book is very good, but your male character is too good to be true. and I didn't understand what she meant by that because I have been reading for a very long time, and I didn't see what she meant. What she meant was I had an African-American character who was not acting in the stereotypical African-American way that they could accept it. So
and I'm sure you said that book came out in 1991?
No, I started writing in 91. Damage wasn't published until 1998. But it was written like in 1994 after I had gone through a lot of publishers. And I was truly pissed when I wrote Damage. And you could tell I was angry. You could tell.
Well, the reason I asked that question is if you remember when the Cosby Show first was in its heyday, there were a lot of people, both black and white, who could not accept the Cosby Show because they didn't feel that it was realistic enough. They couldn't believe that an African-American family could actually live like that and not be from the hood and not have gang members and drug addicts and everything in their family. They couldn't believe that this could actually be an upper-class African-American family.
That's right. And because, just the language, if you listen to the language in my books, I'm African American.
Yes.
because there's a rhythm to the way that I write. But just because I don't say, pardon me, nigga, please, you know, if you don't say that, my cousin told me that. He said, these people supposed to be black. And I was like, he said, Bern, you didn't say the word one time. And I'm like, you know, it just, I don't know. I feel like I should write books that we feel good about.
Exactly. And I believe that everybody should have characters whom they can relate to, whether it be street fiction, whether it be middle class or upper class. Everybody should have somebody they relate to.
And see, when Damage was done, a lot of addicts and alcoholics felt like it was written for them. A case study. It wasn't a case study. It was a work of fiction. Then it was optioned for film by Robert and Kevin Hooks.
Yes.
And they tried to sell it and couldn't sell it because they said I couldn't make up my mind whether it was a love story or whether it was a thriller. Well, you couldn't tell one story without the other story.
I'm about to say, why can't it be both?
We can't have a whole story. We can only have a hood story. You don't know that yet.
All right now.
We can only have a hood story. We can't have a whole story.
But you know what? On that note, we're going to take a quick break. And then when we get back, we're going to dive a little bit further into this because I can see this is going somewhere that we need to go ahead and follow. So we'll be right back. So don't forget, those of you who are watching, don't forget to share the show so you can win some prizes. And don't forget to share and have them like the show so we can continue to grow this show and to grow Meet the World Image Solutions and in return grow this network. So we'll be right back after about 2 minutes. What's up, readers and shakers? It's your girl, Rhonda M. Lawson, sending you a personal invite to the Literary Lounge. Tune in to Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions each Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time for the best in literary conversation. Each week, a different author will join us to talk to their most important readers, you. You can also call in to ask your own questions. So don't forget, each Wednesday at 7 p.m., join us in the lounge for Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions. See you there.
Hi, I'm Linda Lewis.
How does a crawfish or shrimp etouffee sound? What about a piping hot cup of gumbo? Or a catfish platter with soft shell crawfish, catfish, livers, and pickles? And that's just for starters. What about entrees? If this is getting your mouth watering, then you need to come to the Praline Connection. Our down-home Cajun Creole-style restaurant has been providing soul food at affordable prices for over 20 years. And our pralines are delicious. We're a restaurant, a gift shop, and a candy shop, all in one. Bring your friends and enjoy an amazing meal today. Come see us at 542 Finchman Street in New Orleans, or check us out online at www.pralineconnection.com. And be sure to like us on Facebook. You can also give us a call at 504-943-3934.
Y'all know me, this the people person here.
Big homie head.
It's your boy Fred.
This man, big fan.
Right. Listen, we're your host of the New Orleans Talk Network's Fan View. Real fans talk, real sports. Check us out every Thursday night, 6 p.m.
What's up, readers and shakers? It's your girl, Rhonda M. Lawson, sending you a personal invite to the Literary Lounge. Tune in to Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions each Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time for the best in literary conversation. Each week, a different author will join us to talk to their most important readers, you. You can also call in to ask your own questions. So don't forget, each Wednesday at 7 p.m., join us in the lounge for Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions. See you there.
now.
And we are back. We are here with Miss Bernadette Connor. She is the author of 8 novels, all different types of genres. We have love stories, we have family drama, we have murder and mystery, I think. What is your favorite genre to write in?
My favorite genre is romance, but I feel that every romance has a drama. It has a murder mystery, something paranormal, something. They're all different. They come from different periods. When we talk about love stories and the African Americans, people think that it's something new. It is not new. We have had love stories for a very long time, and it amazes me how they want to put us in a box.
You're right. It is amazing because when we watched the Titanic, they turned it into a love story. When we watched, I can't think of the name of it, the one about D-Day, they turned that into a love story. Why can we not have love stories?
Any movie you look at, if it does not have a strain of romance in it, it's not really a great story. And they tend to, the publishers, want to put us in a box. They want us to tell the worst of our stories and stick to it. Well, I feel that we have to project our best in order to be our best. If we keep seeing nothing but the worst of our culture, then that's all we're ever going to be.
Exactly. I mean, there's so much more to our experience. We don't have to just be on the streets. We don't have to only have drug addicts in our families or people who are living lives of crime. I mean, we are so much more than that, and it's okay to tell those stories.
Right. You know, in Limpin, James Evers couldn't even read when he first met Ida. Ida was the unusual African-American woman who was educated. Her mother insisted that she be educated, and he wanted to go into the army. And she made sure he knew how to read and write before he left.
Yes.
And he stayed in the army for his entire time, 20 years, and before he retired. And he saw the world, and he grew. And you see him grow. You see a person who's never seen an electric light or a flushing toilet, and you see this. We've come such a long way in such a short amount of time. People think it was a long, long time ago, but it really wasn't.
Right. Especially if you look at us comparatively, at a time where we weren't even allowed to learn how to read. We had to keep it a secret if you knew how to read. And then when we actually did start going to schools, we didn't have the same textbooks that the other kids had. I'm never going to forget when I started the 3rd grade. I looked at a textbook, and when I opened it up, you remember back in the day when you used to have to write your name on the textbook, and it was like a little card, and they had little lines done, and each person who had that book had to write their name in it. I opened my book, and I found my auntie's name, who was 10 years older than I was, which means that I'm reading a history book that was at least 10 years old, and that was probably older than her. So sometimes we can't fault some of our inner city children for maybe being behind because they're given textbooks that are behind.
That's right. And another thing that people need to understand: African Americans are very intelligent. We are intuitive.
Yes.
People think that, oh, well, Miss Connor, you went to college. Miss Connor went to high school. She did not go to college. I did not go to college. I've never had a formal writing class. I've written, I guess, about 12 novels, and 8 or 9 screenplays. Can do anything we set our minds to do. Anything.
Yes.
And from beginning to end. And we can do it well.
Okay, but now while you say that, one thing I do want to ask, though, because you mentioned you have a high school education, and then you mentioned that you kind of learned how to write. How do you keep your writing skills up? How do you continue to make yourself even better than the last work?
Well, first of all, you have to pay attention. There are things that you catch as you go along. You learn things. Someone will say something to you about some technique that you're using. Learn from it. Don't be angry about it. Learn from it. Spelling, punctuation, learn from it. Don't be insulted. Learn, accept it. Oh, okay, that's how that goes. Don't be offended. It was so many things. So many things in the beginning that, I was like, you don't tell me what to say. You don't tell me this and you don't tell me that and blah, blah, blah. You know how we are.
Yes.
And they were right. And so I always added their techniques in. And most people think I'm published by a publisher. I'm not. I'm self-published. I've always been self-published.
And you have actually more control over your books by being self-published.
Yes, and I don't have to keep writing the same book over and over and over again. I can create characters the way I want them to be.
Yes.
That agent I was telling you about, I was so angry when she rejected my novel because she said that my male character, was too good to be true. And when I wrote her back, which I wasn't supposed to, by the way, when I wrote her back, I said it was easier for Gene Roddenberry to convince the world that Captain Kirk went in outer space, fell in love with and want a green woman than it is for me to convince you that a black woman found a decent black man on Broad Street in Philadelphia.
All right. Come on now. And you would say that right at the end of the interview, and I cannot explore that a little bit more. Okay, so we have about 30 seconds left. Can you please tell me where we can find your books? Because we have got to support you more. Make sure that we support Bernadette Conner a lot more.
They can find Bernadette on Amazon.com. The books are available in paperback and Kindle. I have 2, Sasha's New Beginning and the latest, that are only on Kindle.
Okay, so Limpin is hardcover and it's on Kindle?
Yes, it is. All of my books are on Kindle.
Okay, but Limpin is, you can actually get a physical book too.
Yes, it's paperback.
Okay, wonderful. Well, we would definitely be looking for your books. They're on Amazon. What about Barnes & Noble?
No.
Okay.
No.
So the best place to get them would be Amazon?
Amazon.
Awesome. Well, we will be going to Amazon, and we will be supporting Ms. Bernadette Conner. Thank you so very much for joining us tonight. I thoroughly enjoyed this interview, and we wish you all God's blessings in the future.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
And the same to you. Have a great night. Well, we will be right back, and when we get back, we are going to meet Dr. Turshá Hamilton, my soror, and we're going to be talking about getting healthy for the new year. So stay with us.
Member of Bedside Baptist? Well, now you can join Bethesda House of Prayer every Sunday for our live broadcast. It starts at approximately 9:45 every Sunday morning. Just go to NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com and click play. We can't wait for you to join us from your home. And don't forget, if you want to join us live and in person, service starts for 9 a.m. and we are located at 7601 West Lake Expressway, Marrero, Louisiana 70072, Suite C.
Are you looking for a home to live stream your next event? Give us a call here at Bethesda Community Event Center, the only place on a golf course that can host and broadcast live your wedding reception, your baby shower, business, and any other special event. Give us a call at 504-708-9454 for more details.
Join in on Mondays from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. for Breaking the Silence with Dr. Patricia Fry. There are no limitations or boundaries. We talk about life, and guess what? That includes you. So download the app today, New Orleans Talk Network, and subscribe on YouTube. That's every Monday, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. New Orleans Talk Network, Breaking the Silence with Dr. Patricia Fry.
What is New Orleans Talk Network? It's today's hottest topics with an added flair. You get ready, because the conversation will be hot, and better yet, mobile. Download the New Orleans Talk Network app, available on Android, iPhone, iPad, and you can listen to us on the web at www.neworleanstalknetwork.com. Write down our talk line at 504-341-TALK. That's 504-341-8255. Interactive and worldwide. That's what we are. Join in on the real conversation and tell a friend about the New Orleans Talk Network.
Dr. Turshá Hamilton, and she will be here just talking about all kinds of healthy stuff, because you know what we all do? We all say that we're going to get healthy in the new year. We always say that whole new year, new me.
Yep.
And we've been saying it for the past 5 years, and I've seen the same person I knew 6 years ago, so I'm not sure how that's working for you. But we're going to talk a little bit about that.
2018 going to be my year.
That's what we always say. We always said it. But you know, I've finally figured it out. I know why people are supposedly saying it. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, you have Christmas and New Year, and we eat all this food. You know, we're going to eat a big old Christmas meal. And on New Year's Eve, we're eating collard greens and black-eyed peas and everything.
Kale chips.
Mm-hmm.
And then people eat kale chips and cucumbers.
Yeah, you know, we try to do the kale chips and the cucumbers because we think that's going to make up.
You got to eat your French fries because you're hungry.
Right, exactly. So, you know, because we eat all that food, nobody's trying to diet during the holidays, because from Thanksgiving all the way to New Year, we're eating what we want to eat. And so we figure, okay, well, January 1st is all over. You know, maybe January 3rd, because we have to eat the leftovers.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, I don't know why people trying to call me while I'm doing the show. But then after the new year, let's say January 3rd, now they're ready to get healthy.
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about that, because there are your regular doctors who we see every day in the hospital. Then we have what you are, which is a naturopath. What is that difference?
All right. So the easiest way to describe it is I'm a holistic physician. Most people know what a homeopathic doctor is. And so I usually tell people that what you know a homeopathic doctor to be, that's what I do. In actuality, that's not what a homeopathic doctor is, but that's a whole nother show.
Okay.
But a holistic physician is one, well, let me say this, a naturopathic physician is one who goes to a naturopathic medical school. There are actual 4-year medical schools for what I do, where we learn basic sciences, we learn pharmaceuticals, we learn minor surgery, we learn testing, diagnoses, and we learn botanical medicine. So we learn how to use herbal medicines to help heal the body. We learn medical nutrition. So we learn how to use food as medicine. Physical medicine, which is very much similar to what chiropractors do. We learn homeopathy, which is the specific medicine that homeopathic doctors do, hydrotherapy, how to use water as medicine, and a few other things. And we learn how to take all of those different things and apply it to each individual person to create a treatment protocol so that we can help their bodies heal as much as it can. Because one of the basic principles of naturopathic medicine is the healing power of nature. And so we realize that the body actually has its own ability to heal if given the right amount of food, the right amount of water, the right amount of rest, and the right amount of time.
So are you saying that we don't have to be as dependent as we are on medicine? Is that what you're saying, Dr. Tursha?
Not as much so. Honestly speaking, like, medicine absolutely has its place. Surgeries has its place. But my belief, the reason why I got into this medicine is that, you know, humans have been on Earth for how many thousands of years?
Yes.
And modern medicine has been here for a couple hundred years. Now, you know, we've made great strides in modern medicine, but the earth and the human have grown together. And so everything that we need is on Earth already. Maybe not everything, but, you know, a lot of what our bodies need to heal is already here. So we just have to tap into the wisdom of the elders, tap into the wisdom of the ancestors, tap into the wisdom of nature and of our bodies, and use that stuff to heal.
Okay, but now I would say that that's something that you're going to have to do a little, or not you, because you know it already, but other people are going to need to maybe do a little bit of research on, because you can't just run out there and say, okay, I'm going to let the earth heal me. And they don't know. They don't know which plants they need
jump
to
in the Mississippi River.
Oh, please don't jump in the Mississippi. Do not jump in the Mississippi River. You don't want to jump in the Mississippi River. Don't go there.
Don't do that.
You might come out with something you didn't go in with.
Correct. Correct. Or leave something in the river that you need.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Right.
Okay, so we have to do a little research, and I guess that's where your books come in, because you have now, let's say, 3.5?
Three and a half
books. All right, so let's talk about this one, because I like the name of it. 3 Dimensions of Hot and Spicy Relationships.
Yes.
Come on now, what we talking about here now?
All right, so this is actually a book that, it's the most recent release that I did I collaborated with a couple friends of mine, and we basically talked about relationships and how to keep relationships hot and spicy. And it's 3 people from 3 different perspectives. So that's where the 3 dimensions come from. There are the man that's the author with me. He is
Dr. Bernadette
Joseph. He has been married for 20 years. So, you know, he comes from this perspective of marrying his high school sweetheart. Miss Rosalind Williams comes from the perspective of, you know, having been married for 10 years and divorced for many years. And I've never been married. So, you know, talking about relationships from those 3 different points of view lends a little bit of, you know, just differences in how people interact in relationships. And one of us talks about the mind, one of us talks about the spirit, and I talk about it from a body perspective, how your health plays an important role in being in a great relationship.
Okay, now what I did notice, just flipping through here, is you're still talking about health in this book.
Exactly, that's what I do. That's what I do.
I mean, I saw one excerpt in here where it said, what does your health have to do with your relationship? And then, oh my goodness, there was another one in here, and I've lost it because I closed it. It was also it mentioned how what we think of as a small now was actually a large back in the day in terms of fast food.
Yeah, if you think about when we were little and we went to fast food restaurants, you know, what we considered a large then is actually what's like a small now. And so our perception of size has been skewed over the years, which is why our waistbands have been, you know, growing, and our clothes have been growing, like all of those things. And so if we can just remember that and get back to eating smaller portions, that's one huge step in reclaiming our health.
Well, there you go. I mean, I think that's awesome. Now let's move on to, before we get to this one, let's get to this. Get dressed up.
Yes.
Now see, this is a good one, I believe, because I don't know, maybe this is the only country in the world where we can make a salad fattening.
Right, because
salads are supposed to be healthy.
It's like one of the most fattening things on some of the menus at the fast food restaurants, unfortunately. And it's all because of the dressing.
Yeah, I don't even put dressing on my salads anymore. People think I'm crazy.
Now you can. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're going to tell me what? Okay.
Yes. So Get Dressed Up is basically a book of salad dressing recipes. It is well over 100 recipes of just salad dressings.
Okay.
And the reason why I wrote the book was because the beginning of this year, 2017, I actually did a water fast. And after the water fast, I knew I wanted to transition into raw foods. But then I also knew that eating the same, lettuce and cucumbers was going to get a little boring after a while. And so the best way to spice that up is to have different dressings. And well, everybody has the same 4 dressings in their refrigerator. They have ranch, they have Caesars, they have Thousand Island, and occasionally you'll get French if you fancy.
Yeah, maybe a blue cheese.
A blue cheese
if
you eat that with your pinky finger up.
Yeah.
And so what I wanted to do was to explore different things, and I'd go to the store, and all of the really fun-looking, exciting ones were like $7, $8, $9, or they were pretty expensive for a pretty small bottle. Mm-hmm. And so I went on the internet and I, played around with some recipes, and I found, like I said, over 100 different recipes of things that you can make in like 10 minutes or less.
Okay, now do any of those recipes include, because I remember when I was on the Daniel fast, I was eating salads without the dressing, and somebody who was actually fasting along with me had given me the idea of blending frozen fruit until it basically became a juice, and he used that as his dressing.
I have fruit, I have vegetables, I have oil, I have vinegars, I have non-vinegars. I have some people who don't like vinegar, and so there are dressings for vinegars. I even have a chapter of grown folks dressing.
Grown folks dressing? Come on now, tell me about this
I don't drink, but
Tursha, you can't hang with me.
Oh no, trust me, I can hang. I can pretend really well. But it's a chapter of dressings that are made from alcohol. So your wine, your Merlot, your Grand Marnier, your
That's a good
tequila,
idea.
your beer.
That's in here?
Yeah.
Y'all go get this book. And if you're looking for a late Christmas present for me,
get it.
Yes. Merlot. Merlot.
So yeah, the whole idea is to, the tagline on the book is "Make Salads Great Again."
I like it.
But, it's just to make it fun and to make it exciting. Actually, one of my students just bought the book last week, and she sent me a text message that night. She was like, "Oh, my house smells so great, and my husband loves it," and da-da. And like 3 days later, they had to make a whole new batch, and they made like 4 or 5 different dressings. So like it's really, really simple.
Well, that's another question. Your recipes, how long do they how does one serving last, so to speak? If I make some tonight, how long will it last me?
It depends on how quickly you eat it. Now, there are some that are just like very small, one serving. Well, not one serving, but like a couple servings.
Right.
And then there are some that are larger. But if you're eating like a very large salad the way we should be, then it might last for a couple salads.
Okay.
If you're eating several small salads throughout the day, it might last for a few days.
I could see this making salads a lot more fun, because I could tell you myself, even though I like a good salad every now and then, many times if I know I'm really hungry, I'm not going for the salad first because I don't feel like it's going to fill me up. But now this would actually make the salad more interesting. Right. And I may wind up eating more salad. So I think this is a great idea for those of you who are looking to get into salads, who are looking into eating healthier, maybe eating more clean.
Yes, absolutely.
This is the way to do it.
Absolutely. And I will be coming up with a compendium book of salad recipes, because, again, those get boring as well.
Yes.
One of the last times I came home, I went to this one restaurant and I was excited to get a salad. Oh yeah, this is a healthy restaurant. And the salad was horrid. It was iceberg lettuce and that sad little shredded carrots.
Yeah.
And the little baby tomatoes. I just was mad. I was angry. I was angry.
And I don't understand why people are still making salads with iceberg lettuce.
That's that
went out way in the early 90s. We don't do iceberg lettuce anymore. It's spinach. Maybe it's some arugula.
Romaine, anything. But yeah, that was the thing. Like, I realized that that's why people don't like salads.
Yes.
Because they're boring. They're tasteless. They're just awful. And then the little packet of salad dressing was that same sad little Italian. And so if you can figure out how to make it quickly, make it different every time, and make it tasty, then more people are likely to to stay with clean eating.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to jump into this third book and its companion workbook. So we're going to get into that, but don't forget to share this show and get your friends to like the page. We're trying to get to 1,000 likes by the end of the year, and we need your help. So we'll be right back with Dr. Turshá Hamilton.
Are you a member of Bedside Baptist? Well, now you can join Bethesda House of Prayer every Sunday for our live broadcast. It starts at approximately 9:45 every Sunday morning.
Listen up. Your customers, our listeners, could be hearing about your business right now. Yeah, right now. Don't miss out on the opportunity to advertise with NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com. Call our business department today at 504-475-4793 to hear about our great rates. NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com. We provide the people, you provide the business.
What's up, readers and shakers? It's your girl, Rhonda M. Lawson, sending you a personal invite to the Literary Lounge. Tune in to Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions each Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time for the best in literary conversation. Each week, a different author will join us to talk to their most important readers, you. You can also call in to ask your own questions. So don't forget, each Wednesday at 7 p.m., join us in the lounge for Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions. See you there.
Here at Jones Insurance, your full-service agency, let us take care of all your insurance needs. We provide homeowners insurance, flood, rental, commercial, auto, and life insurance. Don't let the unexpected tragedy destroy your family's future. Here at Jones Insurance, 7603 West Bank Expressway, Monroe, Louisiana, 772. Contact Lois at 504-348-1492.
There's soul food, and then there's food for the soul. At a time where we live to eat, the Praline Connection restaurant serves up recipes that reach back into days long gone. You know, the kind of meals your mama cooked up for Sunday dinner. Fried chicken with macaroni and cheese and candied yams, homemade meatloaf with garlic mashed potatoes and string beans, or Nolan's filet gumbo. That's the real soul you get only at the Praline Connection restaurant, located at the corner of Charters and Frenchman Street in the Marinade.
Back, and we had a couple comments because I think some ears perked up when she started talking about that grown folks dressing. So Rose Inyo Bratcher says, Sarah, come through with the grown folks dressing. Come on now.
Through with it.
And then we had another wonderful Zeta lady who wants to know, Elisa, she wants to know if the dressings work to make and mail as gifts.
I don't see why not. I think that if you can mail any food, you can mail this. Just remember, it's food. It's the ingredients from your refrigerator.
Yes.
So anything that you can mail, you can mail. You probably want to mail it overnight. If you're going to put it in glass containers and you know you want to ship it, pack it well. But I don't see why not.
Okay, I can see that happen. I mean, I guess it would kind of matter how far you're mailing.
Like I said, any food that you can ship. You can ship it just like any other food, I would assume. Just make sure that you ship it overnight and pack it well.
Yes, that's the big thing. Overnight, pack it well, because you don't want this leaking all over the place.
Right.
And you don't want a lot of the elements to get to it.
Correct.
So I can understand that.
Correct.
So let's talk about this last little book you have going on here. This is the book that I'm familiar with. I believe, was this your first book?
This is actually the first book.
Yes.
This is actually the first book. So it's called Practically Healthy Step-by-Step Guide to Better Health. And the reason why I wrote this book actually was because there are certain things that I tell all of my patients. Every time I meet a patient, a new patient, a potential patient, a client, I'm talking at seminars, you're basically saying the exact same things.
Right.
Right. And so I figured it would be the easiest first book for me to write and the most beneficial for the people that I come in contact with, because it is the information that is told all the time. And so my thought is, if you get this book and you just start doing the things in the book, then if you come see a practitioner like myself or any practitioner, that's less of the base groundwork stuff that we have to do with you, because you're already on board with it.
Yes. Okay. And so you have
the workbook.
Yes.
So I was actually talking about the book one day, and then somebody said, you know, to create a workbook, because that would help people get more engaged in the process. And so it basically is either a book in and of itself, or it can go as a companion to the first book. But it really is sort of like a standalone book, and it just prompts you to think about the same things that I do talk about in this book. One of the reasons why I like this book, well, one of the reasons, because of course I wrote it, but but the topics in the book, people ask me all the time, you know, is this a book that diabetics can read? Are you talking about hypertension? Do you talk about this? I don't talk about any particular disease in my books. What I talk about is all the foundational stuff that anyone with any condition or any level of health can do. And so I talk about laughter, I talk about perspective, I talk about pooping. I love talking about pooping.
Now, see, some people would think that's a bad subject to talk about, but pooping is very important. So why do you like to talk about pooping?
Because most people, one, are full of crap, and two, literally and figuratively, but the way I see it is, if a person is digesting and pooping regularly the way the body is supposed to, more than likely they have pretty good health. And most people that we know are constipated.
I was just going to ask, how often should we be pooping in order to be healthy?
If it's 100% ideal, every time you put something in your mouth, within a few minutes you should be going to the bathroom. And that means like going for a little deposit. That don't mean like going to the bathroom and sitting there for hours.
Right.
But little deposit, a little bit in, a little bit out, and then you're on your way. But most of us are not doing that. You know, having one sizable bowel movement a day is also fine. But then you have people who are going every other day, every 2, 3, 4 days. That's not optimal. And so if you are optimally excreting, then more than likely your health is higher up.
Okay. So what should we be eating in order for us to increase our bowel movements? I'm guessing a lot of grains and water. Uh-oh, she's consulting the book. That means that she's already written about this, people.
Vegetables. Lots of vegetables, lots of fruit and vegetables, as little processed food as possible. Living here is really hard.
Yes.
Coming from here even, I don't live here right now, but coming from here is really hard. But it's about what you do every day. And so if you can get in the habit of eating more and more and more vegetables and fruit and less and less and less of everything else, then you will be doing your body a world of good. And that will help to build your health bite by bite.
Now, you touched on something. You know, we are both from New Orleans, both from that lower 9, you know.
Yep.
And,
yep.
I mean, I think the only difference we have is that she went to Xavier and I went to Loyola, but still.
Probably.
We still had to get up early and drive down uptown, so.
Yes.
But we know what it's like living here because we have some of the greatest food in the country.
Yes.
We have very rich food. We have a lot of seafood. We have a lot of sauces that we put into our foods. We don't worry about the oils and everything.
Right.
I mean,
because that's what makes food good.
Right, exactly. So how in the world do we live a healthy lifestyle if we're eating what we're known for here?
It's mindset. It's all about mindset. You have to change your perspective. That's actually one of the things that I talk about in this book. The first 3 chapters are about changing your mindset. Once you can change your mindset, then everything else will follow. You can change your perspective. Like, you don't have to wake up and get, you know, everything fried. You don't have to get everything on French bread. You don't have to eat everything with rice. If you
before the good times or the special occasions.
Exactly. And, you know, in smaller portions. If you can say if you take your plate and half your plate is vegetables. Half the plate is vegetables, not starchy vegetables. I'm not talking about potatoes or carrots. But if half your plate is, you know, leafy green vegetables or bright colored vegetables, and then the other half is other stuff, then you are already well on your way. If you center your meal around vegetables,
Yes.
as opposed to centering your meal around meat or bread or pasta.
So in other words, instead of making the steak the star of your
Correct.
plate, make the vegetables the star
right,
of your plate.
Right.
Okay.
And people are like, oh my goodness, I can never do that. Perspective. It's all about perspective. For years, I told my dad and stepmother to start eating vegetables for breakfast. And they were like, oh, we can't do that. You have to come home, and nobody's going to do that.
Sounds like my mom. I understand.
And so I had to actually come home, and I would, prepare like avocados and,
avocados are delicious.
Avocado and cucumber salad for breakfast with some salmon. And they were like, oh, this is really good. And then my dad would go back to his fraternity brothers and talk about how he ate that for breakfast.
I know your dad was a fraternity.
He's an Omega man. He's
what?
an Omega man.
Oh, this years I didn't know that.
Yes,
okay, I see you. See you, Daddy Hamilton. Okay.
But yeah, if you eat that way, you'll notice your body is different. Like he noticed that he didn't get as hungry around noon. He was satiated. He was sustained for longer periods. He didn't have that dip. And so once you can change your perspective and then change what you do, you'll notice the subtle differences. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to give up everything.
Yes.
But just change the way you look at it.
All right. Well, we're unfortunately ending this this really informative interview. I mean, this is a really great interview. But tell us, because I know you've gotten everybody interested. They want to know where they can find these grown folks dressings, and they want to know about this awesome workbook right here, and then how they can spice up their relationships and their health. So where can people find these books?
So these 3 books, Practically Healthy, the workbook, and 3 Dimensions are all on Amazon right now. This book actually is not officially released, but I have copies. Okay. So what you guys can do is you can go to Amazon for those 3 books. You can go to my Facebook page, Dr. Tursha, that's DrTursha, like my page, and then just stay tuned because I'll be releasing it officially very soon. If you really want a copy, send me a message on there, and then we can hook you up.
You know what I'm saying. Now you have an event here on the 13th.
Yes.
So will you have copies of your book available there?
Yes, I will. Black Women's Wellness Conference. It's the 2nd annual Black Women's Wellness Conference. I am one of the speakers.
Okay.
And the topic that I'll be speaking on is food is medicine. So I'll be talking a little bit more about how to navigate food, how to change your mindset, how to read labels, how to understand how marketers will try to trick you into getting what you want, using certain code words and things like that. And so
we need to be there, people. Is
join
there
us.
an admission for the food for this event?
Yes, there is. Unfortunately, I did not look at the, I don't know how much it is.
But there is a Facebook page for the Black Women's Wellness. So, I mean, if you search for Black Women's Wellness Conference here in New Orleans on Facebook, you'll be able to find all of the information for that.
You can, I think her website is willbornclinicalservices.com. Willbornclinicalservices.com. You can find out the information. If you click on events, you can find out the information there.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, Dr.
Thank you for
Tursha.
having me.
I'm so happy we were able to finally get you here.
Yes.
Okay, so that is the end of the show. But I do want to remind you, if you've not been looking at the Meet the World Image Solutions Facebook page, there is so much going on. As you know, we are getting ready for the Black History Month, New Orleans Literary Weekend. And there are the social media handles right there. And if you want to keep up with what's going on with the Black History Month New Orleans Literary Weekend, you can go to www.mtwimagesolutions.com/BHM. That stands for Black History Month, just in case you were wondering. And then look at these awesome authors, that we have coming up. Oh, look at this. 8 of these authors we have a really serious panel for you. They're all writing different types of books. We have fiction, we have nonfiction, we have self-help. And as you can see, we actually even have 2 male authors, which is awesome because last year we had 1 male author. Now we have 2 male authors, and we have 4 guest speakers. And you may have seen the flash of that flyer. It's going to come back up in a minute. It's coming there, right there. He went too fast. But Cheating in the Next Room, for those of you who remember When I first came on the scene back in 2004, my first book was Cheating in the Next Room.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, and this book was about a man who cheated on his wife with his best friend's cousin. And now that story is coming to the stage.
Yay.
And we have some awesome actors. I mean, these people are serious about what they're doing. We have a couple of first-timers, and we have a couple of very established actors who are going to be a part of this play. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this come into fruition. I have such fun at rehearsals because everybody has really started to body the characters, which is wonderful. Now, I will tell you that tickets are on sale now, and the first 100 tickets will only be sold for $25. After that, then the advance price will go up to $30 and then $35 at the door. So if you want to save a few dollars, it's best to go ahead and get your tickets now. You can go on to Eventbrite or just go to the Facebook page, the Black History Month New Orleans Literary Weekend Facebook page, and you'll be able to find the ticket information there. So, and the flyer has been just going all over Facebook and Instagram, so if you haven't seen it yet, you will see it. So make sure you come out and see the play, take part in the Black History Month Literary Brunch that we'll be giving earlier that day, and we'll also be having a free writer's workshop on that Friday. So just go to the Black History Month New Orleans Literary Weekend Facebook page for more information about that. So that's all we have for tonight. I hope you were liking and sharing. I saw a few likes and shares coming in. So thank you so much. We really appreciate the support because I cannot grow without your support. Right. And the same thing here, support Dr. Tursha. She is doing wonderful things, and she is helping us to stay healthy. And we just thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you all for having me. Thank you, Sarah.
Oh, thank you, Sarah. Say bye.
Say bye. So sweet.
Yes. Okay, now, that is all we have for tonight. This is the last episode of 2017, so we will see you on the other side of New Year's Day.
Happy New Year.
Yes. We have a whole lot of awesome shows for you. More will be coming up. I mean, you do not want to miss Wednesday nights on Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful night. God bless you, and have a very safe and blessed New Year. What's up, readers and shakers? It's your girl, Rhonda M. Lawson, sending you a personal invite to the Literary Lounge. Tune in to Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions each Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time for the best in literary conversation. Each week, a different author will join us to talk to their most important readers, you. You can also call in to ask your own questions. So don't forget, each Wednesday at 7 p.m., join us in the lounge for Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions. See you there.